Hey, Steelers Nation. We're back with an exclusive video packed with the latest updates on our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. This way, you'll never miss any exclusive updates or exciting Steelers news. The air around Pittsburgh feels heavier than usual, and the whispers traveling through locker rooms, radio waves, and late-night conversations are all circling the same emotional center. There's a growing sense of sadness, almost disbelief, as rumors begin to form around the idea of Aaron Charles Rodgers possibly walking away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nothing is confirmed, nothing is official, but in the world of sports narratives, rumors often speak louder than statements. Rodgers, a quarterback whose presence alone seems to command attention, has become more than just a player for this franchise. He has become a symbol of stability, leadership, and expectation. When fans talk about him, they do not just mention arm strength or experience. They talk about aura, confidence, and the way he changes the emotional temperature of a stadium. The idea that he might be leaving creates a strange silence, the kind that arrives before a storm. Supporters try to read between the lines of interviews, body language on the sidelines, and subtle comments from people close to the organization. In the absence of clear answers, imagination fills the gaps. Some say it is about internal direction. Others suggest it is about personal motivation. What remains consistent is the feeling that something important might be slipping away, and that uncertainty alone is enough to unsettle an entire fan base that had grown accustomed to believing Rodgers would be there, leading the charge. Inside the organization, the rumor feels like a slow burn rather than an explosion. It is not a sudden shock, but a gradual realization that nothing in professional football is permanent. Aaron Rodgers arrived, carrying expectations shaped by years of elite performance and a reputation that preceded him. In Pittsburgh, those expectations transformed into hope, especially among fans who longed for a quarterback capable of commanding respect from both teammates and opponents. Now, the possibility of his departure forces difficult questions to surface. Was the partnership ever meant to be long-term, or was it always a temporary alignment of needs and timing? Some voices suggest that Rodgers himself might be feeling a quiet disconnect, a sense that the vision he imagined does not perfectly match the reality unfolding around him. Others believe the organization could be re-evaluating its future, wondering whether to invest fully in a veteran presence or pivot toward a different identity. None of these theories are grounded in official confirmation, but that does not stop them from spreading. In sports culture, silence is rarely interpreted as calm. Instead, it becomes fertile ground for speculation, especially when a player of Rodgers' stature is involved. Every pause, every non-answer, every carefully chosen word becomes evidence in a story still being written. From the perspective of the fans, the emotional reaction is layered and complex. There is sadness, yes, but also confusion and even a touch of frustration. Many had allowed themselves to imagine a longer chapter with Aaron Rodgers under center, a chapter filled with leadership moments, clutch throws, and the sense that the Steelers were guided by someone who had seen everything the league could throw at him. The rumor of his exit disrupts that narrative abruptly. Conversations in bars, online forums, and living rooms carry a similar tone, a mix of disbelief and reluctant acceptance. Some fans try to protect themselves emotionally by downplaying the possibility, calling it exaggerated talk. Others lean fully into the rumor, preparing themselves for what they believe is inevitable. What connects them all is the recognition that Rodgers' presence mattered. Even those who question certain decisions or performances cannot deny the weight his name carries. Losing him, even hypothetically, feels like losing a sense of direction. It forces fans to confront the fragility of hope in professional sports, where loyalty, contracts, and ambition are constantly in negotiation behind closed doors. Within the locker room, if these rumors hold any truth, the atmosphere would likely be just as complicated. Teammates often develop deep respect for a quarterback who leads not only with skill, but with experience. Aaron Rodgers represents a bridge between generations, someone who can speak to young players about preparation while also challenging veterans to maintain high standards. The idea of his departure would ripple through that environment in subtle ways. Players might begin to question their own roles, their own futures, and the stability of the system they are part of. Even if nothing changes officially, the rumor itself can influence mindset. Football is a sport built on trust and chemistry, and uncertainty can quietly erode both. Some players may feel motivated to prove themselves regardless of who lines up at quarterback. Others might feel anxious, wondering how a new leader would fit into the existing culture. Rodgers, known for his thoughtful approach to the game, would not be unaware of these dynamics. That awareness alone could contribute to internal conflict, especially if he feels torn between personal goals and collective responsibility. Media voices, especially those tuned into the emotional side of sports storytelling, have begun to frame this situation as a crossroads moment. They speak about legacy, about how Aaron Rodgers' time in Pittsburgh will be remembered regardless of how it ends. If he leaves, some will say the chapter was too short, unfinished, lacking the resolution fans crave. Others will argue that impact is not measured by duration, but by presence. The rumor allows everyone to project their own interpretation onto the situation. Analysts speculate about strategic disagreements, personal priorities, or a simple desire for change. None of it is proven, yet all of it feels plausible because Rodgers is a complex figure, not easily reduced to a single motivation. He has always been portrayed as thoughtful, sometimes enigmatic, and deeply aware of his own narrative. That makes the rumor more compelling, more emotionally charged. People are not just discussing a possible roster move, they're discussing the meaning behind it, the why that may never be fully explained. As the speculation continues, one thing becomes clear. The sadness surrounding the idea of Aaron Rodgers leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers is not just about football tactics or depth charts. It is about attachment, identity, and the stories fans tell themselves about their team. Rodgers symbolizes a certain belief in excellence and experience, and the thought of that symbol fading from the black and gold palette creates a sense of loss before anything has even happened. Whether the rumor proves true or fades away, the emotional response it has triggered reveals how deeply sports figures are woven into collective imagination. For now, the air remains heavy, filled with unanswered questions and quiet concern, as everyone waits to see whether this story is merely a whisper or the beginning of a farewell that no one feels ready to accept. As the narrative shifts into its next emotional phase, the speculation around Aaron Rodgers takes on a more reflective tone, almost as if fans and observers are bracing themselves for an outcome they cannot control. The rumor of his departure from the Pittsburgh Steelers begins to feel less like idle talk and more like a looming possibility that demands emotional preparation. People start revisiting moments, conversations, and perceived signals from the past, searching for clues that might have been overlooked. Every press conference answer is replayed in memory, every sideline interaction reevaluated. In this stage of the rumor, imagination becomes powerful. Supporters picture what the team might look like without Rodgers, and that mental image feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. At the same time, there is an undercurrent of respect. Many acknowledge that if Rodgers were to leave, it would likely be driven by thoughtful reasoning rather than impulse. That acknowledgement does not erase the sadness, but it adds complexity to it. The story becomes less about betrayal and more about inevitability, about the reality that even the most impactful partnerships in sports can reach a natural conclusion without anyone being truly at fault. The organization itself becomes a character in this unfolding speculation. People begin to wonder how the Steelers would respond if the rumor solidified into reality. Would they frame it as a mutual decision, a respectful parting of ways, or would it feel like a chapter cut short by circumstances beyond control? Pittsburgh is known for valuing tradition and stability, and Aaron Rodgers seemed to fit into that narrative as a seasoned leader capable of guiding a proud franchise. The idea of moving on from such a figure raises questions about philosophical direction. Is the team preparing to redefine itself, to invest in a different style of leadership, or to embrace a period of transition? None of these questions have answers yet, but they dominate conversations because they matter. Fans are not just emotionally invested in players, they're invested in the story of the team itself. Rodgers' possible exit forces that story into a moment of uncertainty, where the future feels open but also intimidating. From Rodgers' personal perspective, at least as imagined by those watching from the outside, the rumor invites empathy. People speculate about what it must feel like to carry expectations not only from a franchise, but from an entire fan base hungry for success and reassurance. Being a quarterback in the National Football League is already an intense responsibility, and doing so with the weight of legend and reputation adds another layer. Some suggest that Rodgers might be seeking clarity, alignment, or even peace with his own goals. Others believe he could be responding to factors that have nothing to do with performance or strategy, but everything to do with personal fulfillment. These interpretations humanize the rumor, transforming it from a transactional discussion into a story about choice and identity. Whether accurate or not, this human angle resonates deeply because it reminds fans that behind the helmet is a person navigating complex decisions in a very public arena. The emotional ripple effect extends beyond Pittsburgh, reaching fans of the sport who recognize Aaron Rodgers as a defining figure of his generation. Even those without allegiance to the Steelers feel the weight of the rumor, because it signals potential change in a league where continuity is often cherished. Rodgers represents a certain era, a style of quarterback play marked by intelligence, composure, and confidence. The thought of him leaving yet another chapter unfinished adds a bittersweet note to his ongoing narrative. Commentators begin to speak in softer tones, using words like legacy, transition, and reflection rather than excitement or anticipation. The rumor becomes less about what comes next and more about what has already been given. That shift in tone amplifies the sadness in the air, making it feel shared rather than isolated to one city or one fan base. As the days of speculation stretch on, patience wears thin, but curiosity remains strong. Fans oscillate between wanting answers and fearing them. Confirmation, whether positive or negative, would at least provide closure. Until then, the rumor lives in a suspended state, shaping emotions without resolution. Some supporters begin to mentally prepare farewell messages, expressions of gratitude for what Rodgers brought to the team, just in case. Others resist that impulse, holding on to hope that the whispers will fade and stability will return. This emotional tug-of-war is exhausting, yet highlights the deep bond between player and community. Aaron Rodgers, regardless of the outcome, has clearly left an imprint strong enough to make uncertainty feel like loss even before anything is lost. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In the end, this second wave of speculation reinforces one central truth. The sadness surrounding the idea of Aaron Rodgers leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers is rooted not in fear of change alone, but in appreciation for what his presence represents. Leadership, experience, and belief are intangible qualities that fans treasure, and the rumor threatens to remove them from a familiar setting. Whether the story concludes with a departure or a reaffirmation of commitment, the emotional journey itself will remain significant. For now, the air stays heavy, filled with reflective silence and cautious hope, as everyone waits for clarity in a story that feels far bigger than a single roster move. From a broader perspective, the speculation about McLaurin joining the Steelers underscores how modern sports operate at the intersection of talent evaluation, media dynamics, and fan engagement. The narrative illustrates that even unconfirmed reports can dominate discussions, shape perceptions, and influence strategic planning across multiple levels of the league. Fans dissect statistics, insiders reveal snippets of negotiation details, and analysts extrapolate potential scenarios, all contributing to a media ecosystem where rumor holds substantial weight. The reported decision, whether ultimately realized or not, serves as a case study in how speculation can generate tangible outcomes, from social media engagement to betting markets, merchandise sales, and beyond. For the Steelers, the rumored move could redefine not only on-field strategy, but also brand perception, fan loyalty, and organizational identity. Each new leak, each whisper of confirmation, builds upon a growing narrative that blends anticipation, analysis, and excitement into a compelling story that captivates audiences far beyond Pittsburgh. In essence, the rumor itself has become a powerful narrative engine, shaping expectations and conversations at every level. The speculative saga surrounding Terry McLaurin and the Pittsburgh Steelers highlights the intensity of modern professional sports storytelling, where anticipation can rival reality in its impact. Fans, analysts, and insiders alike are caught in a web of rumor, interpretation, and projection, attempting to divine outcomes from partial information and subtle hints. The narrative has taken on a life of its own, with discussions about strategy, culture, financials, and league-wide implications intertwining to form a multi-dimensional speculation machine. Even without official confirmation, the idea of McLaurin in Pittsburgh dominates headlines, social media, podcasts, and forums, creating a collective imagination of what the team might become. Observers consider every angle, from on-field chemistry to locker room leadership, from coaching philosophy to rival responses, building a rich tapestry of possibilities. Whether the story resolves with an official signing or remains an enduring rumor, it exemplifies the ways in which narrative, anticipation, and player reputation can shape discourse, excite fan bases, and influence perceptions, reminding everyone that in sports, sometimes the rumor itself is as thrilling as the game. The excitement, debate, and analysis surrounding this potential move ensure that the Steelers' quarterback saga remains one of the most captivating stories of the season, leaving fans and analysts alike on the edge of their seats. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.